What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big Ten channel. We're going to project the 2024 record for Northwestern. Before we get to that, let's look back some of the projections from 2023. Of course, Northwestern was a huge surprise team last year. Again, 7-5 the record in the regular season. Our projection was actually 5-7, so it was closer than what most people predicted. I personally predicted them to go 3-9. So did Athlon. The over/under was at 2.5, or you might could find it at 3. So this is a team that had very, very low expectations. And of course, losing Pat Fitzgerald was a big part of that. But hey, it didn't really matter. They went out and had a good season and proved a lot of people wrong. Again, going 7-5. Let's see what the projection is for this year. Again, here's the schedule, and this is the scale that we use. If it's under 20 or over 80, those are games that are pretty much guaranteed wins or losses. 20-29, 71-80 games where I think the spread is going to be pretty comfortable, double digits. 30-39, 61-70, more like a touchdown spread in those games. Games that you're going to have a favorite, but they're not going to be a huge favorite. So I think we can start with Eastern Illinois. That's going to be your one easy win. I think that they should be favored by 24, 28 points, whatever in that game. No reason they should lose that one. I'm going to put Miami of Ohio in the blue. I think they'll be favored by a couple of touchdowns. But this is not a bad group of 5 team. And it's week 1. Northwestern not exactly expected to be a powerhouse in the Big Ten this year. I think you hope for middle of the pack if you're a Northwestern fan. And so I don't think that's a guaranteed win, but they should be favored by a decent amount in that one. And then you've got Duke, Indiana, Illinois. I think because these games are at home, and I realize Northwestern doesn't have a great home field advantage, but I use the same formula for all these teams. Those are teams where I think Northwestern is a little bit better than them, and they get them at home, so those are in the purple. And again, I think Northwestern favored by 6 or 7 points. Duke not expected to be as good as last year. Illinois is kind of a mess. Indiana's a wild card. I actually think they could surprise this year with their new coaching staff and all their roster changes. So that one might actually be more like a 50-50 game. But again, just using our formula, it does come out in the purple. So you've got 3 games there in the purple. Then you've got some games in the yellow at Washington, at Iowa. I think Northwestern are going to be about a touchdown underdog in both of those games. These are teams that I don't think are a whole lot better than Northwestern. Washington might not be that much better. Iowa has potential, I think, to be a decent amount better than Northwestern. But because these games are on the road, that's why they're in the yellow, just like the ones in the purple are in the purple because they're at home. And so these are the games that I think they're going to be a slight underdog in. And then a bigger underdog against Ohio State and Michigan. Probably a 2-touchdown underdog in both of these games. They do get Ohio State at home. If that one was on the road, that one would actually probably be in the red. But I'm going to give them a slight chance in that game. But again, they're probably going to be a 2-touchdown underdog against Michigan and maybe even more than that against Ohio State. And that's going to leave us with Maryland, Wisconsin, and Purdue. These are all 50-50 games. I think Northwestern should be better than Purdue, but that game's on the road. So that one's going to be a 50-50 game for me. I think Wisconsin probably a little bit better than Northwestern, but that game is at home. And again, I don't think there's a huge gap there. So those 3 games are really the swing games. If they can beat Miami of Ohio, Duke, Eastern Illinois, Indiana, and Illinois, that gets you to 5 wins. If you can win 2 of these 50-50 games, you can get back to 7-5. Or just win 1 and get to a bowl game, and that's actually what the projection would be. So Northwestern projected to go 6-6 when you average everything out. Enough to get to a bowl game, not quite as good as last season, but I think you take that, again, with a tougher schedule, the new Big Ten, and again, just a tougher schedule than what they had last season. But 7-5, definitely a possibility, and who knows, if things go just right, maybe even 8-4. But it could go the other way. This team could be 5-7 or 4-8. But again, our projection is 6-6. Do you guys agree with that? Do you disagree? Your thoughts on this team? Let me know down in the comments below.